Hi students, we're up to chapter 16 in our advertising class, and that means we only have two more chapters to go. This chapter is all about managing the integrated marketing communication system. In our case, for our class project, we are not doing an entire integrated marketing communication program due to time and resources. But what we are doing is we're choosing two different modes of media to communicate to our chosen target audience. But if you come across information in your research that you think should be added into your paper, certainly you can add recommendations for FitCrunch to pursue. Okay, the key concepts here. So, stakeholders and brand relationships. A customer focus is critical in most IMC strategies, of course. We say customer, but we really are referring to everyone that is involved who have an impact on that customer relationship. And we know, because of what we've been talking about all semester and other marketing classes, that relationship marketing shifts the focus from a one-time purchase to more of a long-term involvement. We know that it's very costly to gain a customer. It's a lifetime customer relationship that is expensive. So keeping your loyal customers happy is a smart idea. So interactive communication is the glue that joins brands and their stakeholders in respectful long-term relationships. So we receive messages all the time, especially now. And it's important that we receive relevant messages through the different media that drive a positive experience, creating a value for the consumer. So just blatantly getting messages to tell me, update me on this, that, or whatever is not helpful to me. It's overdone. Some companies are doing a great job and others are just kind of self-serving. So you can think about the brands that are communicating with you during this crisis. And are they being of service or are they being self-serving? So think about that. Brand relationships are indicators of brand value, what a brand is worth to both the company and its customer. Negative impact can come from mishandling the type and amount of messages directed to stakeholders. The less relevant the message, as I said, the more irritating it becomes. That's where permission marketing comes in. And with all this downtime, I've been clearing out my phone from messages I get. They usually give you the opportunity to subscribe, but then unsubscribe. But permission marketing invites the consumer to sign up for messages and self-select into a brand's target market. Okay, so this mirrors a shift from a one-way to a two-way communication, which we know we've been speaking about that all semester long. And brands are becoming more involved in social communication, where online technology permits them to be more specialized in their contacts. So we know companies like Amazon, for instance, reach out to us with our specific name, or they let us know that, you know, whatever we bought, that other people bought similar products, and they make recommendations to us according to our past purchases. And sometimes we like that, and sometimes we say it's creepy. So let's talk about total communication here. I like the how the text describes the 360 communication, because we can get a sense of what that looks like. It's one circle, and everything feeds into the next thing, and then it just keeps going around and around. So in 360 communication, planning many message delivery points impact how a company does business. A total communication program monitors all these sources of brand messages. Everything a brand does, but also what it doesn't do, can send a message. you can't not communicate with people, but when you do, it's important that it is relevant. So Apple is a example of a company that is ranked best global brand because of its cohesiveness, another good word, with hardware, software, retail stores delivering one consistent narrative. So yes, it's cohesive in that it feeds into the other areas. Think of like one big circle. Um, and I like the consistent narrative as well. So think about that when you're thinking about your two vehicles you're using. Are they a consistent message and are they cohesive? In other words, we want them to have similarities, but they're tweaked ever so slightly for the media vehicle you're using. Okay, the concept of contact points has redefined our understanding of media as a message delivery system. So contact points are the various ways a consumer comes in contact with the brand. So can be various situations. This moves from traditional advertising and marketing communication media to experiential contacts. So I think we are all moving to that experiential area. We like getting involved with brands that we enjoy, and it's getting more and more difficult to be unique and to cut through that clutter. But you should be providing contacts for your project. I know we're not doing an entire IMC plan, as I stated in the beginning of this chapter, but recommendations to the client could be helpful. I know a few of you have talked to me in your groups about that, and I just said, you know what, create like a recommendation header for other things that you think FipCrunch should be doing. Okay, the IMC planning is designed to maximize and leverage the good contact points and minimize bad ones, obviously. Brand touch points are contact points that touch our emotions. They're also known as experiential marketing. So I have given you a couple different examples here. So the first one down here is the Nike store in Soho, New York, if you've ever been there. It is a really cool experience. But Nike, and you'll see this watching this YouTube video, has about a 5-story building. And they connect with their customer by engaging them in various ways. And if you're a Nike fan, you'll really like this video. The next example I have here is from the FIFA or FIFA World Cup. Coke and FIFA got together and they created this pretty cool experience for soccer fans. And you'll see by watching this video again that a person actually feels like they're competing against their favorite athlete in a little soccer tournament. But the takeaways for the marketer here is virtual reality is accessible to many marketers, but this experience did have a few scalable strategies associated with it. It gives the attendees an experience. It gives them tips related to your marketing campaign. It embraces a major event. And it, connects you with your favorite athlete at a favorite sport. So this is just another example of experiential marketing that is out there. Okay, brands, message synergy. Brand communication is about impressions and brand meanings, evolving as messages interact and reinforce each other. Messages reinforcing one another have a multiplier effect that cements a brand's impression, that polishes and magnifies it. Keep this in mind as you're creating your campaign and use 2 different platforms while reinforcing that same message between the 2. So more on message synergy. Synergy happens when all the messages work together to create a coherent brand perception. Let's give the example of Geico, okay? Although they have many different types of ads, whether it's with a caveman or a camel or woodchucks or whatever it is, they still have the same message, don't they? Right? So it's always, it will only take so many minutes or less to get on and save you money with Geico. Okay, so it's the same message every single time. There's a little bit of a different theme, but it's almost like as consumers, we're like looking for what's next with them. Brand stewards and IMC planners insist that strategic consistency be at the brand core and clear in every message. Strategic consistency drives synergy, and synergy drives brand impression. Message synergy is the basis for seeing a brand as an integrated perception. People automatically integrate brand messages and experiences. It's a natural process for us. Integrated perception is just the way we make sense of things, and that's how a brand impression is created. So I'm going to give you some examples so you kind of get this concept in your head a little bit more. So when I ask the question, what do you think when I say Taco Bell, Mountain Dew, or Apple? You consider a lot of things. You consider images of who uses it, brand positioning in the market, messages that you've heard in the media or word of mouth, and all of this equals integrated perception. So internal integration, you can't be integrated externally if you're not integrated internally. A core brand strategy or a shared vision drives the entire organization, which is where cross-functional management comes in. Across all departments, they deliver a unified vision and a foundation for the consumer's integrated brand perception. Everybody works together on the same vision internally. You can imagine what it would look like otherwise. So more on brand integrity. An integrated brand is one that has brand integrity. It's more believable because what it says and does matches what others say about it through either media stories, word of mouth, testimonies from satisfied users. Being a good corporate citizen adds trust to brand relationships and embellishes a brand's reputation. Integration leads to brand integrity. So I think we can all think of an example. I just had Chipotle up here. Okay, they do a lot showing their, so does Panera, by the way, clean food, where the product's coming from, how often they cook the food, the amount of ingredients, things like that. So this ad is, at Chipotle, we like to talk about why meat raised without hormones tastes so delicious. But the ad agency insisted we be direct. Okay, so I think that was kind of funny. So you can think of brands on your own that have that integrity of what they're doing behind the scenes, maybe something philanthropic, giving back. Certainly there's a whole lot of that going on now. It's companies that are really stepping up. Maybe you liked them before and maybe you like them more, or maybe you didn't consider them before. Now they're getting your attention because they're doing something like they're taking their distillery and they're changing it over from, say, making gin from aviation gin to now making hand sanitizer, or a kilt company that's now not making kilts anymore, which are skirts, if you didn't know that. And now they're making medical masks. So, you know, there's a lot about being a good corporate citizen, especially today. Okay, IMC campaign planning. All right, so a key objective is to create consistency among all the Markham tools and platforms. Okay, that's marketing communication tools and platforms. They're pretty much driving this home. Consistency, consistency. So spherical branding is just another way of saying 360. It means that no matter how I look at the brand, it's always going to look the same from every angle. This is called 360 planning, and it refers to looking at the brand from all directions and points of view. An IMC campaign is a complex set of interlocking coordinated activities with a beginning and an end. An IMC campaign plan outlines objectives and strategies for different but related marketing communication efforts. They use different marketing communication tools, conveys different but complementary messages, and depending on the media vehicle, the same message is being delivered, but just in a slightly different way. So, yes, I'm driving this home over and over again. This is what you're doing for your project. A typical plan includes, much like our advertising plan that we're doing, this IMC plan is that big 360 plan. We're just doing a part of that. Okay, we're doing a situation analysis. Remember from our phone calls, I told you that 3 things need to be included in that. 1, nutrition and protein bar category. How is it growing? What's going on with it? What are the trends? 2, health and wellness, how that is growing and trending. And thirdly, looking at a SWOT analysis for FitCrunch. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses internally? What are the opportunities in the marketplace? Okay, the situation analysis kind of tells us that. And then what are the threats? Okay, things like the economy, certainly this virus. All of that should be included. Key strategic campaign decisions, the Markham mix, your message strategy, IMC media and contact points, management and campaign control. So let's talk about that a little bit more. Okay, we are all in our papers doing a SWOT, okay? We know this: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The primary tool to make sense of the information and identifies the key brand or product problem, okay? Strengths and weaknesses, as I said, are internal, and opportunities and threats lie in the external marketing environment. The idea is to leverage your strengths and opportunities and address the weaknesses and threats. And you should have a good list. You shouldn't have 2 strengths, 1 threat. You should probably have, 4 or 5 bullet points under each area. And you can do this however you want. You can create something that looks like this in chart form with bullets. That works for me. You can just have something bulleted and listed, or you can have it in paragraph form, whatever form you would like, that drives home what you're trying to say, and certainly in your PowerPoint presentation as well. Here is the strengths of a business are its positive traits, conditions, and good situations. So obviously strengths could be the fact that this is a company that does a lot of different things. For vets, they have a celebrity chef as their spokesperson. Their product is baked rather than fried or whatever other kinds of methods people or their competition's using. The weaknesses of the business are traits, conditions, and situations that are perceived as negative. Well, again, Robert Irvine could be perceived as a negative if nobody knows who he is. Okay, maybe a weakness is that has a lot of sugar in it, or maybe a weakness is that it's not gluten-free. So that's for you to figure out by doing your secondary research. Okay, the opportunity is the area in which the company could develop an advantage over its competition. Okay, again, the opportunity could be celebrity chef. It could be that it's high protein, low sugar, has certain ingredients, maybe no GMO, things like that. The threat, on the other hand, is a trend or development in the environment that will erode the business unless the company takes action. And also, threats are, in some cases, are uncontrollable. Like the economy, a possible recession, a pandemic, things like that. But again, on the opportunity side, you can prepare better for something on the threat side. So think of opportunities and how you can kind of counteract the threats. Key communication problems. Planners look for communication problems that affect the successful marketing of the product as well as opportunities. IMC can solve only message-related problems such as image, attitude, perception, and knowledge. A campaign must create a desired brand impression, influence people to respond, and separate the brand from the competition. Okay, so let me repeat that again. An ad campaign must create a desired brand impression, influence people to respond. How can that be? It could be through sales, it could be through an influencer, it could be through product qualities, and that in turn will separate you from your competition. What does a competition have and what don't they have? Where are the gaps? What can FitCrunch be doing to separate themselves from their competition? So the campaign strategy. A strategy can focus on branding, positioning, countering the competition, or creating category dominance. Okay, so positioning, you know, how are they positioning this bar? Or what does a competition look like? How do they position? Is it by price? Is it by protein? Is it by, ingredients? So think about what the positioning is and countering what that competition is, okay? The strategy may be designed to change consumers' perception of the brand's price or price-value relationship. The strategy may also seek to increase the size of the market or share of wallet. So what we want is, when I'm thinking about a protein bar as a consumer, I want to be thinking about who, and hopefully it's FitCrunch. So we're trying to get in what they call the share of mind or the share of wallet. When I go into a Target, when I go into a Costco, when I go into a Publix, a Walmart, and there's choices to buy a protein bar, okay? What strategy do we have set up that's going to increase the fact that I will put that into my cart, that is a choice of mine, okay? What unique qualities are we conveying in our campaign so that we convince people, once they're looking at the category, at the competition, that they always choose a FitCrunch bar? So campaign objectives. All right. So I talked a little bit about this kind of thing in our conference calls. Okay. And speaking of conference calls, I will put this in our announcements. Last call for conference calls. Okay. If your group has not set up a call with me by Wednesday, the 8th, I believe it is, you will automatically get 5 points deducted from your paper, because this is a must. It is a grade that is in place of your attendance, and by April 8th, you need to not only you need to have had a appointment with me scheduled. It might not be till Friday, but that's okay. You have it scheduled. Everything needs to be done this week. You have a lot to do until the end of the month when this paper is due, and it's best to get clarification from me. If you've already had a call with me and you want to set up a second one, that's not a problem. I'm talking about the groups that have not yet made an appointment with me. Okay, so I digress. Objectives. Every campaign must be guided by clear and specific measurable objectives. You can't just be out there with, these look like great ideas, let's do this for a campaign, without having some return on your investment for your client. And we can't overstate the importance of writing focused and measurable objectives before the campaign, okay? How effective is this campaign going to be? We need to know this, and we need to set up what they call benchmarking, okay? And a planner uses a comparable effort, such as a prior brand campaign, to predict a logical goal. So you have to look at what the product's done in the past. So if you're deciding to use Facebook or Instagram, you need to look back and say, what has their social media been in the past, okay? How many followers, how many likes, how many impressions, how many click-throughs, whatever it might be, you need to look at what they had and what you think they're going to have once this campaign is out there. So this is a great example of out-of-home media effects. So effective campaigns use media to stimulate consumers and activate their responses. We've talked about this in your conference calls, okay? So for instance, what are some things that your campaign could do? One, entertain the customer to forge a strong emotional connection with us. That's a worthy objective. Some of these can be actually measured, and some of these are going to be measured in a different way. Create a buzz through continuous innovation. Surround the customer with multiple touch points to connect with them where they live, work, and play. Engage the customer with fresh messaging in order to build a strong relationship. And lastly, provide a memorable connection by bringing creative messages to life in an experiential way. So that could be a lot of different ways. You could be a sponsor to something, something related back to health and wellness. You could do a sampling event. So there's a lot of different ways to connect with your customer in a different, impactful way. Targeting and engaging stakeholders. So a stakeholder, again, we talked about this in the beginning of the semester, refers to any group of people who have a stake in the success of the company or brand. Employees in particular are important, and their buy-in is managed through internal marketing, including wellness programs and discounts. So I have Trader Joe's here, and now more than ever, we're seeing how frontline people at restaurants and grocery stores and delivery companies are buying into the success of delivering product to people. And Trader Joe's, I love that store anyway, but they constantly get written up as a top employer, and how their employees really connect with their mission. Whole Foods is another one that rewards their employees for being healthy, and gives them discounts. They give them challenges because they do want their employees to be healthy. They also want them to be informed about products. And when you ask a question, they know where to go, and they can also give you suggestions. Brand strategy. Message consistency needs a heart, core, soul, or DNA, a central concept around which messages can be unified. This is called the brand essence, and what makes a brand different and distinctive from all other brands is its product category. So what is its position? What does it stand for? Think about that for FitCrunch. If it doesn't have a mission, or it's unclear what they stand for, that can be your job as a team to create a position for them. Effective INC plans lead to profitable long-term brand relationships. Okay, so of your INC mix, this is the whole mix for the integrated marketing communication. So it's not just number one, okay? If you were working on an INC plan for a company, you would have to think about PR and the consumer promotions, okay? All the stuff we've learned about this semester. Trade promotions to retailers, point of purchase, what's in the store, whether it be an end aisle display or a shipper, they call it, okay? Direct marketing, sponsorships and events, packaging, specialties, guerrilla marketing, and customer service. So there's a lot to be thought about in the mix. Message strategies are matched to stakeholders based on insights into what interests them. This is why you created your survey, so you can find out some of their interests, whether they work out so many days a week, if they belong to a gym. These were different behaviors you were looking for because you wanted to match them up. That message needs to match up to where their interests are. Remember I always say intercept them in their life somewhere. Message strategy decisions support the overall campaign objectives and direction. Strategic consistency comes from the creative theme and the consistent presentation of brand position and personality. Remember those words, consistent. Okay, so think of all those great favorite ads you did in the beginning of the semester for my face-to-face class, and those of you who sent them in for my online class. But what's a consistently seen? The Chick-fil-A cows, okay? Consistently in the campaign, something funny, something simple. Dos Equis is another one, the most interesting man in the world, although the campaign's been gone a while, it was consistent with the messaging that he was always going to be that kind of over-the-top guy that everybody wanted to know. IMC media and contact points. Okay, when most people think about media, they think about traditional mass media and advertising. Okay, that's the newspaper, the radio, the TV, and the magazine. Media planning in an IMC contact does more than just deliver targeted messages. Media involves and engages and connects the consumer to the brand and to one another. So it has to be that next step. So what is it? Multi-channel and multi-platform, okay? It can't just be one platform, which is why I asked you to choose two. But we know that it has to be, the consumer has to be hit on many different levels for us to remember the ad and to connect. Media planning involves all different types of traditional media, aka multi-channel or multimedia. When IMC planners think about media, they're also thinking about a multi-platform message. That includes all the media used in all various marketing communication functions that we have been talking about all semester long. So contact point management, another distinctive feature of this plan is its emphasis on every important contact. They can include a variety of experiential media as well as conventional media. Think about all the ways that you come in contact with your favorite brand. The example that I was thinking of is when we go and fly somewhere out of an airport, which we hope happens very soon again. Different ways that you're contacted by your brand. Maybe messaging that's at the airport, messaging on the actual airline. How do they treat you? How do they connect with you? Do you get a positive feeling when you're done flying with a particular airline, for instance? It's a prime opportunity to connect with you as a consumer and think about the companies. Like I think of JetBlue, for instance. First of all, they have great snacks, more space. They're different in that, you know, they give you movies for free. Just everything's just, they treat you like a human is what they do. They don't nickel and dime you for everything like some of the airlines do. So you leave there maybe with a positive vibe. And you might have another example that you have from your travels. Okay, so Coke, as you know, has had an amazing run with their viral Share a Coke campaign, and it is one of the most recognizable and effective IMC campaigns to date. This brand used their clever campaign hashtag Share a Coke across all social media channels and published effective videos that transformed the phrase into an all-inclusive experience, which highlighted a sense of pride and personal ownership. Okay, you could go online, as you could see, find even more names with hashtag Share a Coke. Okay, we all know that when we saw our name, if you did, that it was pretty cool, and we may have bought that one. But it was a really great campaign that connected people in a different way. Very creative. Okay, cross-media integration. Media selection also considers message needs. So here the media planner and the message planner intercept. Okay. Cross-media integration means the various media work together to create coherent brand communication. Remember, we said coherent, cohesive. Everybody has to have the same vision. Okay, so here's a great example. True Blood. I wasn't a big fan, but I do like what they did here. Is an HBO series, and if you watch this YouTube video, you can see how they connected through mass media and through integrated media, social media, all different types. They connected with their target audience. So vampires were everywhere is the idea. So take a look at it. That's a great example of a company integrating in lots of different ways through their media selection. Okay, management and campaign controls. In order to manage an IMC campaign or program, a manager must keep up with highly complex set of tasks, and all campaigns are designed to operate within, obviously, a budget, schedule, and an evaluation. So, you know, I didn't give you a budget for FitCrunch, but the budget is limited, and I did tell a lot of you during our conference calls to be realistic and to be conservative. So in other words, don't say something like, we're going to increase Facebook likes by 85%. You know, be realistic. Also, you want to go by a schedule. So your campaign should have a beginning and an end. Is it a 6-week? Is it a 3-month, 90-day campaign? And then, as I mentioned again, over and over again, an evaluation of how well it did, measurably. How could you measure its success? These controls keep the activities on track and on budget and on strategy. Budgeting and scheduling. Budgeting depends on the organization, the area it serves, the amount of time, the targeted stakeholders, and the media. Budget determines how many stakeholders can be targeted. Obviously, how big can this campaign be? Is it something regional? Is it something is it nationwide? How many media and platforms a campaign can support? Okay, so what makes sense for this campaign? If it's something for Gen Z, for instance, you're not going to put typically you're not going to have a newspaper or magazine ad. That does not make sense. It makes sense for you to have something on TikTok, Instagram, who knows, maybe Facebook, but other social media that makes sense for that age group. The length of time the campaign can run, again, put some parameters on your campaign. 90 days, 60 days, whatever you decide works best, and why. Again, the evaluation, advertising, and marketing agencies are creating new tools every day to help marketers evaluate efficiency and effectiveness. The issue of accountability is made more complicated by the growing use of global marketing. Of course, it becomes more difficult when you are spreading this campaign and making it bigger and bigger. So managing the 360 communication program, an ongoing multi-channel, multi-platform, multi-stakeholder approach to IMC requires a lot of organizational commitment. This 360-degree communication is driven by unifying the brand's vision surrounding all brand interactions with all stakeholders. That vision that must be shared by everyone involved that is involved with the brand. Everyone needs to be a part of it. So mission marketing. Okay, so again, this might be an area you want to consider depending on your target audience with FitCrunch. So the concern for social issues is increasingly important for profit companies. Being a good citizen, as we mentioned, in actions as well as words, is key to building and maintaining a positive brand reputation. Adopting a good cause and helping in fundraising and other community efforts is called cause marketing. And we know that a ton of companies are stepping up to do the right thing for people, as I mentioned earlier. Some other examples are Dove Real Women campaign, Avon's supportive breast cancer research, and I could go on and on. More than ever. How do we look at those companies once all this is over? I think we have a very positive feeling, and I know I posted something about FitCrunch and what Robert Irvine's company's doing. He's changing his distilleries over to hand sanitizer, and I believe he is taking his FitCrunch bar to vets unable to get their hands on appropriate food. So, I mean, that's an example of what they're doing and getting that information out there to the masses to let people know that they are stepping up, as many companies are. So when a commitment reflects a company's core business strategy, it's called mission marketing. So what can FitCrunch be doing going forward? We know what they just did, but think about that. Something long term. Mission marketing links a company's mission and core values to a cause that connects with the customer's interest. So here's a link to the top 50 companies giving back during coronavirus. So I think you'll be pretty interested to see this. Mission marketing also contributes to the synergy through brand integrity. Another example is Tide's Loads of Hope campaign, as in the detergent. Take a look at that. What do they do in crises such as hurricanes and other natural disasters that happen, whether it's in Texas or Louisiana or other parts of our country? How do they step in and give people clean clothes? So please look at these videos so they kind of drive the message home. Okay, the integration triangle, okay, identifies 3 key aspects of brand communication. So think about this. These all must work together to create integration and integrity. 1, what the company or brand says about itself. We might say that we're an amazing company that gives back to the community. We have high protein and low sugar, and our ingredients are all natural and organic. How the company or brand performs, what do they do? How do they source their products? How do they give back to the community? And then what are other people saying about them to confirm it? Are there news stories? What feedback are they getting across social media? So that triangle kind of has to work together. Say, do, and then confirm. Okay, so more on internal integration concerns. Because when we talk about an INC plan, it's kind of overwhelming. There's so many moving pieces. How do companies have several clients and make sure all these things are moving in sync? So departmental silos with each Markham function going its own way is only a barrier. Okay, that's why there's cross-functional management, and with a team of area representatives to coordinate all the activities. Another concern is coordinating all the agencies involved in creating various brand messages. So, for instance, a company does not have one ad agency that does every single product that they make. Okay, they have several different ad agencies, and making sure that they're all in sync is important as well. Okay, this is the last slide for chapter 16. So to be successful, a cross-functional brand-focused team involves members that interact with the customer, the stakeholder, and outside agencies. It operates with a singular brand vision as it plans marketing communications, monitors that impact, and tracks responses. The marketing communication manager is one of the people in charge of planning these brand building opportunities. So this is a very detail-oriented job and focused and high pressure, but a lot of fun if you're able to get this type of opportunity in your career. So I will see you for chapter 17 coming up shortly.